My name is Damian Slaughter, Deputy Director for the Department of Building and Housing Development. And this is our 2015 through 17 consolidated plan. And the reason we're having these public meetings, one, is because it's part of the regulations through HUD that we have at least 2 meetings. We are going to have another meeting next Thursday at HAC. That one's going to be at 11:30, so if you're able to make it, please do so. But tonight's meeting, you have a package that we put together. We gave you the previous meeting minutes. That's a tongue twister, sorry about that. We also gave you a citizen participation plan, a copy of our PowerPoint presentation, which Ms. Brown will take us through here shortly, and also a survey. If you could complete the survey tonight while you're here, I would appreciate it. The deadline is up that we're receiving them, but I do want at our different meetings, if you guys have any information that you want to chime in on via that survey, please do so at that time. Let me give you an overview of the consolidated plan. This is the city's 3-year plan of how we plan to spend our federal entitlement funds. This is community block grant funds, which is CDBG. This is home funds, and this is ESG, Emergency Solutions Grant Funds. So the reason we want to have a public meeting is to hear your voice. You're going to give us the building blocks for our plan, your suggestions, what you're seeing out in the community. You may need more assistance with senior centers, like we're pleasure of being here tonight in the Hans Medical Center, which is a senior citizen center. Crime prevention, housing rehabilitation, things of that nature. So we really want you guys to be involved, speak up, talk up, and really participate in this meeting. Once run list is done with the PowerPoints, we'll have questions that you can ask, and we'll just go from there. So be comfortable. We're all family. Feel like you're at home, and just talk, amongst friends. I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Brown.
Hello everyone, my name is Romulus Brown. I'm the project manager for this department, and for to allocate these funds also. Everybody enjoying the weather?
Wow,
Much better than what it was.
Yes.
Much better. I'd like to thank you for coming out. Like Damian stated earlier, it is very important for your participation. Us working with the city, it's very important to understand what each person feels they need in each community. We can assume things, we can talk about things, we can have statistics for everything in the world. But without your participation, without the people that actually live in these communities, we're guessing. We don't have the framework to understand what you feel is important for your neighborhood. What is a consolidated plan? Each year, the city of Harrisburg receives an average of $2 million in federal funds from the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development through 3 key programs: Community Development Block Grant, Home Investment Partnership, and Emergency Solution Grant. To receive these funds, Harrisburg must submit a 3-year consolidated plan and an annual action plan for HUD approval. The consolidated plan describes the city's priorities and goals to provide citizens with decent, safe, and affordable housing, suitable living environments, expanded economic opportunities. We actually can do questions after each slide, but if you need time to kind of go over and fill everything, we also will do questions at the end. So whatever you feel more comfortable with, we actually can wait, or we can go through each slide. So I kind of leave that up to you. If there is something you want to say in between, raise your hand. I will pause and stop if you want to do it at that exact moment. The purpose of this meeting today, Harrisburg needs a citizen as key partners and stakeholders to discuss the critical community needs, help identify housing priorities, economic development priorities, and community development priorities. In the future, Harrisburg needs a citizen as key partners and stakeholders to provide input and review the proposed consolidated plan, participate and monitor the implementation of the 3-year plan, priorities, and achievement of goals. The elements of the consolidated plan include needs assessments, market analysis, citizens and stakeholder consultation, setting priorities and goals, identifying resources, the annual action plan, and evaluating performance. CDBG, home, and ESG, basic eligible activities that we use are for housing, programs for seniors, public services, anti-crime, youth programs, planning and administration. The CDBG grant must primarily benefit low and moderate income households and neighborhoods. The home grant provides decent affordable housing to lower income households. The ESG grant engages homeless individuals and families living on the street, improve the number and quality of emergency shelters for homeless individuals and families, and it also helps operate the shelters. The lead-based paint hazard control and healthy homes initiative. This is a grant funded that we previously had, and these are the results that we were able to do with this grant. Lead controlled in 161 rented and owned homes. Community residents 40 plus trained as lead workers. And with over 92% of the city's houses built before 1978, Harrisburg is strongly positioned to successfully complete for new funding. We are looking for funding to repeat this program. Currently, it is not enacted. This is a polygraph that basically showed the household average median income. City of Harrisburg household AMA is $32,949 based on income and percentages of populations. What this graph shows is from incomes over that number all the way to extreme low incomes. Housing conditions demographics. 44% of the 21,000 Harrisburg households have some type of housing problems. Some of the housing problems are lacking plumbing or kitchen facilities, overcrowdedness, and then it breaks down to a housing burden of income. If you're between the 30 and 50 percentile, and if you're under the 50 percentile of income. The housing assistance demographics from the Harrisburg Housing Authority. It currently gives how many houses are being managed. It gives the number of vouchers, Section 8 and choice vouchers. It gives the number of the waiting list. And it gives the numbers of the choice vouchers waiting list. These numbers are founded from the Harrisburg Housing Authority of the statistics that they have currently. The Capital Area Homeless Coalition, yes?
Are you saying the third bullet down, there are 1,800 families currently waiting?
That is correct.
So if you say on average, 3 people per family, you're looking at 6,000 people on a waiting list? Wow. I'm just...
They're waiting for Section 8.
They're waiting
for the
Section 8
vouchers.
Yeah.
So they're in other housing, but
Oh,
they're just
okay.
waiting
They
for
possibly
vouchers.
could be
They're
other
not on the
houses, yes.
They're not on the street.
That's not a full shelter, that's not a full transitional housing, that's not a number for that. That is the actual number of how many people are waiting on the waiting list.
All right.
And what happens is at different times when there aren't enough vouchers that are able to be given, the waiting list is closed.
Mm-hmm.
The Capital Area Homeless Coalition, this gives the numbers of gaps in between beds of being in emergency shelters, transitional housing, and or safe haven. The non-housing community development assets, and I'm sure everybody in one instance or another have always heard, the more education you have, the average mean of income that you normally get more, the more education. So this is kind of a breakdown of employment in the city of Harrisburg, from going from high school graduate, some college, bachelor's, and graduate school, of the mean of the earning income available for each one. Are there any questions?
So at this time, we really want you to engage, talk to us about what your needs are in your community. We also have, for surveys that's going on right now, use your stickies that you were given when you came in. Anything that you feel that's crucial in your neighborhood, just put the level that you consider it. 1, 2, or 3. 1 being extremely important, 3 being not so much. But we really want you guys to be engaged. So if you have any questions about any part of the process or any ideas that we can use these funds for, at this time, it's your time.
Two questions. You want to go to sort of pause?
Just to help you with those questions, like what are the major impediments to have decent, affordable housing that may be in your neighborhood? what arts, culture, and recreations do you believe Harrisburg and your community need? Playgrounds need to be fixed. They may be dilapidated or what have you. Things that we can do to encourage our kids to go to the playground and play, and also use that as a safe haven to go out and exercise or what have you. May need some help in your neighborhood. What kind of economic empowerment activities do you believe are needed in Harrisburg? Maybe workforce training, working with Harrisburg School District, working with HAC for some type of training activities for our youth. College is not for everyone, so they may learn a trade so they can be able to go to work right after high school. Things of that nature.
What impact can these programs have on training in the trades? I love this corner here because it has everything right here. It's got a playground across the street. It's got an abandoned house on the corner here. It's got a wonderful economic opportunity development lot across the way. So my view of this, the role of an organization such as economic development, the role of an organization such as the Heinz Center is to sort of be the sticky glue, to get people talking about pulling all that together. So when I look out the window, I see something that can be developed, but if we are developing it, we immediately face the question of what workers are going to be involved in that rehabilitation. So I go back to my original question of what impact can your department have on the training of people from the community itself in acquiring those skills and being able to make a living wage, using those skills to bring Harrisburg back.
Now, we could work with the trades, the local trades community. I'm just going to keep, that's good. We can work with the local trade community to partner with, again, Harrisburg School District or HAC to set up that type of training, whether it's painting, block masonry, or what have you. We can reach out to those organizations, which we have in some point, but to stay focused on it and then develop a plan to be able to bring shop back into the high school or bring shop to HAC to be able to learn those trades and get training from the apprentices that's going through the program and also the tradesmen that's working in that profession. So now our students, our kids, can be able to go right into the trades and be able to do that job, right out of high school, if they're not, again, prepared for college or don't want to go to college.
Are you currently engaged with HAC now? Because again, I love this area. HAC's right there. They have the wonderful posters of training young people, fresh, bright, clean, with hard hats on. Are they engaged with you at this point?
We are having that conversation, mainly with the trades first. And then with HAC, we're going to reach out to HAC and the Harrisburg School District to develop a program. But we have started those conversations. Very new right now. Nothing is concrete, but at least everybody's at the table talking about it. So we may have a plan very soon.
And if I can interject.
Yeah.
What also we've established is a baseline. So each trade has specific skill sets that are needed. So an iron worker doesn't need necessarily chemistry.
Right.
But maybe an electrician needs some of that with some of the things that they're doing. So what we needed to do is to have an open dialogue about the sort of baseline skill sets that you would need to go into those trades. The math skills, what we found is that many of our young people are really, really lacking in math skills. So what happens is this, in those trades, they're international trade unions, so they can go anywhere in the world once they become this apprentice and work. But if you fail that entrance exam, you're gonna have to wait a year. Well, our young people can't wait. You know, if they fail, they're so used to being told that they're going to fail, that really takes the wind out of their sails. So what the trades have done is they've come to us and they're saying, hey, if you get us this baseline, these are the skill sets we need, we will hire tutors. We will hire tutors so that when these young folks take the test, they're going to be able to get into that apprenticeship program. So these are dialogues and commitments that they've made and that we're able to do working together. Now, does that reflect in CDBG dollars or in all those things that we're talking about? No. But what it does is it shows you the commitment that the department and the administration has made, understanding that this is an avenue for a lifelong career for our young people. And we do a lot of work in homes. You know, we do a lot of renovating and stuff. So there's an ability for these young people to start their own business then and be very successful. So the whole idea is that if we do these things together, we bring everyone up. I don't know if that's helpful or not, but that's where we're at today.
Okay.
Can I ask, why did they take these trades out of high school? I think you said that they...
Yeah, I cannot answer that. I'm not sure. Roy, maybe you can help me.
I can discuss how it got out to Dauphin County, what's heck. There was a program up at William Penn, and prior to the elected board taking over, and of course there was a whole lot of politics and stuff involved, as everyone knows, and it was an awful time. There was 10 years of virtually the community having no say. We were failing really badly, and the Commonwealth said, look, you're failing miserably, you're not being successful. We couldn't get a grasp on where we could, there was no baseline. The program was so bad. So before the Commonwealth could come in and intervene, what we did was we got 100 more slots for our students at Dauphin County, and we got, at least they were able to keep moving forward in those areas. And by the way, Dauphin County has like 34 different programs where we were only offering maybe 10. So it sort of opened up windows in other directions that some of our young people could go to. Granted, it's not the numbers that we could have done up here, but we were going to lose out on all opportunities for our young people, and we had to do something. So that's how it got to where it is today.
Any other questions about any aspect of, how we're planning to use the funds? Have any suggestions as far as what we should do? Maybe you have high crime in your neighborhood, a lot of dilapidated homes in your neighborhood that may need to be demoed. Just whatever you can think of, street improvements. This is the time to bring it up so we can make note of it. Jackie?
Maybe you should tell everyone what we did with it last year.
Okay. Last year, our 2013 to 14 grant year, which was October 1st of 2013 to September 30th of 2014, we accomplished a lot. I gotta be frank. We was able to spend maybe $900K in CDBG and home, and we were able to rehab maybe 87 homes with those funds. So low moderate income persons, homeowners, they came to us and needed some assistance. And we were able to bring their homes up to code to the tune of 86, 87 families, somewhere in that area, which is unheard of. That's a huge number. Typically we do maybe 15 to 20 units a year. We were able to do 86, 87. Also, we mentioned about our lead hazard control program that we had, which we have it no more, but we did a great job for the 42 months that we had that program. We were able to service or make lead safe 161 homes, and that's windows, doors, paint, anything with lead dust, we went in and made it lead safe. We, just in that calendar year again, we spent probably $850,000 on just lead. So last year we had a very big year in terms of individual people like yourself, citizens coming into our office, filling out their applications, taking advantage of this entitlement funds. Because if we don't use it, it is being picked at. Like this year, we lost like 5% of the total allocation that we got in the previous year. So each year is dwindling down. So the more we receive these funds in our community, we have to put the money out in the community to help our citizens, to uplift ourselves. Safe, affordable, decent homes, infrastructure, the lighted structures, get those out of the way so we can be more productive as a community. Yes, ma'am.
Sorry for being here late. Can I ask about the community programs element? Because that is, I think, of critical importance. One of the things I have noticed, I've lived here for 20 years.
Okay.
And what I have noticed is that as the city has gone into decline, so have programs such as around parks and recreation, to a point where that is, to me, probably one of the most critical areas where we need to stop the hemorrhaging. What I mean by that is we have a lot of children. I don't know, we're a small city, but we have a large portion of our city of which the population is comprised of young people. They do not get a good education. I'm just being very candid because that's the only way I know how to talk about this, okay? They don't get the kinds of programs that they need to have around recreation department. They don't. Let me give you an example. Reading is the poorest city in the United States of America, but it has a comprehensive tennis program. Very comprehensive. It has the United States Tennis Association, which has a junior tennis program, which is here. But the point is that we need those kinds of programs in our cities. These children deserve more, and we need to focus, it seems to me, on the summer programs. I think that you need to have the training component. I think it is important to look at job skills. I think it's important to look at the educational attainment piece, but it's also important to look at the recreation piece around skill development and just giving them the opportunity to learn, to be engaged. Those are, to me, hallmarks of a society which cares for its young. And I think we have a lot of work to do. And I don't know whether these funds can be used for that, but I do see community programs over there. I would ask that you very seriously look at how we make our programs more robust.
Okay.
Okay.
That's a great question. Thank you.
We know.
Yes.
We know each other. So a lot of the programs for the recreational come from the general fund. These funds cannot be used for our operations. However, we do fund partners that do after-school programs, that do tutoring, that do mentoring, lots of preschool kinds of things. Those are our partners. Surely, I certainly agree with you that we don't have a super strong recreational program, but we do have a decent one. We don't have the tennis, but we do have, we do offer a lot of things that as much as we can, but that comes out of general fund.
Okay.
So you have to go to council and ask them for more money.
Some of those partners.
Thank you, Jay.
Some of the partners that Jackie alluded to, the Boys and Girls Club, even Harrisburg Housing Authority had a summer program. Youth Bill, we're going to probably do a project with Youth Bill this year. So we're trying to, bridge that gap, if you will. Go ahead, Ron.
I was going to say, just off of experience, when I was younger, I actually worked for Parks and Rec like from 14 to 18. And one of the major things that I've seen even being young and knowing now, numbers just always dwindle. It's like once school's out, like that first week or two, you might have 20 at a playground, you might have 10. By midsummer, you have 2 or 3. So it's very difficult to fund a whole summer program of money when the participation isn't there.
We are trying to strengthen those numbers, though. I mean, I think there are things that we can do to keep
That's
it
right.
occupied.
That's right.
But
Look at strategies. But with respect to, I see community programs over there. So, and only to the extent that there is some coordination. I appreciate the comments, just to the degree that we're a small city. We can track some of that. I mean, Jack, I'm sure you know how to do some of that work around just tracking, without being overly involved in you know, the private, maintaining privacy, but just looking at, you know, students at this school are engaged in these programs and just keeping the children engaged and getting up to par, because we missed some years. We had some years when we just weren't doing this, so we are recreating some of this. Getting up to par on how we can, in fact, get better engagement and keep that engagement going. Okay.
Thank you.
And well, I just want to say too that some of the CDBG money though did go to parks and rec, so that was there for the pools, for the 2 pools, to renovate the 2 pools, and also for replacing playground equipment.
Playground equipment.
So there are opportunities for this money to fund activities that are taken, that are executed directly by the city, is what you're saying? No? Okay.
Nope.
Because,
Bricks and mortar.
okay,
But we fund our partners.
but you did the pools. You
Just the
contracted
pools.
that work out.
Yeah, bricks and mortar. But you said programs, we can't.
I'm
do
sorry,
programs.
no, I don't.
We can fix the pool, but
Yeah.
we can't pay for someone to teach
I
someone to
got you,
swim.
I got you.
Our
Correct.
partners can, but we can't.
I understand.
Yep.
So if it came to rehabbing a playground, we had Kaboom and those people in here, that an outfit like that could be your partner, and they could apply for funds to assist in the rehab of a.
No, these funds are just, we're already working with DCNR, our partner's DCNR. So they're helping us and they're leveraging our dollars to add more money so that we can, so that we replace all the playgrounds.
Okay.
And DCNR. So it's dollar for dollar, and we're, you know, that's how we use our funds, is to leverage their funds. And they're awesome. They come in and they're doing an assessment, what's dangerous, how do we maintain them,
Right.
you know, how the carpet should be, because they have the certification to, you know, show us what we're supposed to be doing.
Okay.
So, we have 5 on the books now that we're supposed to be doing.
But I think Sheila brings a wonderful point up too, is that here we are tonight, and I really applaud everyone who's come out, but the room should be full.
Yeah.
This is, you know, what speaks volumes is the questions that you ask tell us how much the community cares about the community, because we care about our young people and we take care of our older folks. And that's a hallmark of a great society. And yet, you know, the folks who are here care, where's everyone else? Because really that's what's going to help us to get over the hump. We can rebuild the playgrounds, but if there isn't an organization who wants to be there, who wants to be a mentor, who will spend that time with our young people, it's just a piece of steel. It's just a plastic horse or whatever. It's really the engagement of the community that's going to make the difference. And
So what can be done to get people more engaged in this city? Because like you said, you can have all the money and fix everything up, though, but people's mindset is to where they're not concerned about their city. They, you know, you fix all the stuff up and they just throw trash on the ground.
Well, we're encouraging neighborhoods to adopt a playground, and you know we do that in other communities where you can adopt a playground and have a neighborhood nonprofit, you know, that just helps and looks out for the park, and you know, set notices when the carpets, the filling isn't quite right, when something's damaged, and gives us a call. So we do have a small program that's called Adopt a Park, and we're encouraging. We actually have quite a few people who've called for neighborhood parks. So we're hoping that that neighborhood feel, and that neighborhood, everybody watches out, you know, for everybody else, and that's, you know, it's gonna, you know, yes, you're right, it takes some doing, and not everybody wants to do it, but.
Evidently, most are interested in doing it, so.
Well, you know, Harrisburg has been in a long, dry period.
Yeah.
We all know that, you know, I mean, it's incredible. But, you know, we do have an opportunity now to begin to turn that around. And in my opinion, it will happen with what I like to describe as these little cells. There's a little cell here, there's a little cell there, but if you get some communication between them, then you develop that nerve system. And I'm not saying that as an abstraction. We have the neighborhood center right over here that last year took on the responsibility of cleaning that park 1 day a week. My seniors saw that, and I encouraged them to get involved. So when the neighborhood center didn't do it, I'd get some people over there to do it. So that's the kind of, here's a little cell here, a little cell there, You've got the Camp Curtin Y just a few blocks from here. You know, so if you get those organizations beginning to work together and cover for one another, then we have a chance to turn it around. It's going to take a long time, but you can begin to nourish that. So that's what I look to the municipal government to do with funds like community block grants and things like that, to encourage, you know, that growth between those organizations, those cells. And we can do it. I mean, I love this little corner here, again, because I get on Roy here about the burnout houses a block from here, you know.
Right.
I've got him on speed dial for that. I've got Aaron Johnson on speed dial for trash pickup around here, you know. So what I like to think that we're beginning to do here is reach out to other organizations, both municipal and private, not-for-profits, and, you know, for-profit organizations for that matter, and just build out from here. If we build out from here, the Y builds out from their side, guess what? At some point we're going to meet and we're going to have this whole corridor of renovation and better feeling about the city and within Harrisburg, this end anyway.
And the survey, you know, the survey's online too. So if you couldn't be here, please participate, you know, call 2 people and just ask them to call 2 people. And let's see how many people we can get to respond. I mean, it's simple, but the truth is it becomes a bigger part because it will make a difference.
May I ask a question? Are you doing this, I maybe should know, I apologize, because I don't. Are you doing this on the Hill?
Yes.
Yes.
And I was going to piggyback on what Mr. Ford was saying. We're going in different pockets around the city, and we're hoping, just what this young lady just said, as far as we may have a few that comes out, but we hope that you go back and tell your family, and they tell their friends, and it just grows and grows and grows. And then the whole community, our whole community here in the center, or the city, will take that and grow. So now we're helping out in the neighborhood, we're helping ourselves. And we receive this money to do so. So hopefully with you talking to your neighbor and your family, it's just gonna continue down the block, and before you know it, we're gonna be overwhelmed. And we're gonna spend up all the money before December. And which last year we spent at a rapid pace, so it can be done. We just gotta keep the momentum up.
I want to go back to this business of changing the mindset, though. Harrisburg has a recent history of the fix being in for monies before the rest of us ever find out about it. Okay, we have a history of that. So there's this whole mindset out there that, oh, there's no point in going through this process, it's just for show. It's not. It has changed. It has changed in the last 2 years, and I expect that the pace at which it changes will accelerate. So that's going to take citizen responsibility, citizen oversight to make sure we don't fall back into that rot of apathy again and just assume that there is nothing that can be done. I think now at this point things can be done, and if we're vigilant, more and more things will be done as we go along.
And more partnerships too. Next week, the meeting is at HAC, and it's at 11:30, so we can encourage the students, and the administration is in the middle of the day while they're in session. And so then you start bridging and getting those programs, which are the arts and the recreation, that part of the mind that we tend to think is extracurricular, but should be integrated into any curriculum. So you start to engage them as partners. What can they do around, small businesses, encouraging that, volunteering, looking at those trade and training programs that we need. The lead program that they did before, they will be applying for again. That was training 40 local community people, because that's required of the grant, giving them a skill that they can use beyond this. And a lot of times that's all they need, that one step, that one certificate, that encouragement, getting up, going to a job. And that's a skill you can't take away from them, and they can take it all over the state. They can take it beyond this. But those are the kinds of things that you want to start building, those bridges, those relationships. Let's have a program in the community center. Let's bridge you. You have so many access to higher ed. You got Temple, some other colleges and universities here would be fabulous, and get that excitement going, and those small businesses and those volunteers and supports. They do your training program. They teach your kids. We repair the pools. They start a USA Swimming, let's say, because my kids swim. We'll make a splash, because our kids die so much every day from swimming. So those not being able to swim, drowning, and the skills that you learn for participating in sports, that whole skill set, that whole strength and dynamic, and those tend to be better students, those who participate in the arts and sports. So that's why they are bridging those gaps and those relationships with your institutions of higher learning. And that's why it's next week. We want people there too, middle of the day. Please come, okay?
And I don't know if this is going to help, but start to believe in your community. Start to believe. I said this 8 years ago one time in a public meeting, and I'm still saying it. Why would we accept failure when success is an option? And really, we deserve it. Our children deserve it. And we've got to stop accepting second best. We do. And I can tell you that the administration, and I'm going to say that many of the people in this room right now, I'm just telling you the truth. 11 o'clock at night, we're calling each other. We're worried about somebody. Now, we don't have to do that, but we do that because we're a team, and this is our community, and we care. We care about everybody. Ms. Parker, her weekends are spent calling, emailing back and forth.
Just bug my staff.
Because of one.
It's a nice way of saying that.
But the truth is,
Parker, this
it's because we care. We really do. So we want.
Right.
We're here because not because HUD says, look, you've got to do this every 3 years or you're not going to qualify. This isn't an exercise just because we have to do it. This is because we want to make that difference, because we do care.
And I think too, this is CDBG funds, which we're all kind of talking about. But if we find out that as you go around and there are some things that are
Right.
really important to you that can't be funded through CDBG, because I'm telling you, it's very limited, and there are many things that the city uses CDBG for also. But we can find other strategies. That's the thing. But what are the priorities of the community? And then we go around and say, if that's the priority, then we're going to try and see if we can find other partners and other funding.
Let me say this,
So
I think
that's
this
why
is
you-
very, oh, sorry. Go ahead. I keep talking, you know that, go.
It's on here that
Correct.
don't necessarily
Correct.
pertain to the funding.
Well, they can, but they can. Some of them can. So housing, okay, we already talked about the
Right.
fact that you can do that. But when we say community programs, we may fund a few partners, but if there's not enough money for that, then we say that was really important, like Sheila was talking about that. That can't be funded through CDBG, but it can be funded through something else. But we know it's a priority.
Like some of those infrastructure things in the public facilities.
To me, that actually really nicely segues into what I wanted to say about this as a sort of the template for strategic planning. To me, that's what I see, which is so critical to getting Harrisburg back into a place of some equilibrium. And you need to know what the needs are now. The challenge is, let me say this though, I don't think that I think that you have a pretty good representation of people here tonight. I think that it's good that people are here. I've gone to meetings in the past where no one shows up, so this is pretty doggone good, and I think it will grow. I think one of the challenges is, though, to get more people involved. So, when you think about the traditional ways in which that happens in this community, I would urge you all to really reach out to those organizations like maybe the YMCA, Camp Curtin, the YWCA, the churches. Some of the churches can do this work. They could even, there may be another way in which they can do it in terms of the way they communicate with their membership, because those are the traditional kind of community stakeholders in Harrisburg. So, and even the schools might be a part of that. I mean, I leave that up to you all. But the point is, the idea of buy-in, it seems to me, is important, because here's the thing. A lot of people have opinions about this. A lot of people. So you want to reach a lot of those people.
We are gonna be doing our comprehensive plan, and this will all be
Right.
part of it. And so
Right.
that's gonna be going on all
Good.
this summer,
Good.
all the way to
Good.
the fall.
Good.
And we are talking about social media or flyers, churches, all different ways to get the message out, because we'll be having neighborhood meetings again for different topics.
I didn't even know about this until I think last week I saw a Facebook post that Eric put out.
There you go.
And I thought it was about the comprehensive plan and not this. And then I saw this one on Tara's just yesterday.
Good.
Other than that, I wouldn't have known about it. So that was just within the last week.
That's good, though.
So
Social media does work, because I would never think of checking it. I'm not. I have a Facebook page, but I wouldn't be
Yeah.
checking it.
yeah, but I didn't see anything on
Yeah.
Penn Live.
Well, we send it out. We did send it out, but yeah, we've been
We have it on
advertising.
Channel
it.
20, we posted it in Patriot News.
Mhm. They did cover it a
So
couple
that
weeks
Harrisburg-
ago,
On our website as well.
Website.
Yeah.
Yeah.
but you know, just.
Keep doing
mhm.
Oh, yeah. We're trying to flood the market with all of our
But you
information.
found out, you
Yeah.
did find the source, so
Yeah.
that was good.
Uh-huh.
Some of these different ones is fabulous.
Are there any other questions or anything? Anybody want to share? Anything at all?
And they do share with their stickers.
You know?
Oh, yeah.
Just can right up.
When do we get to
We getting ready to do that right now. He had 30 seconds of pause, so now he's transitioning into it.
We also have, we have a lot of experience here in the city now, and we have the leadership that's in the position now to really push us to do better out in our community. We actually, in our department, DBHD, we have a employee, and I'm not gonna embarrass anybody, that's been with the city for like 39 years. So, and he does an outstanding job, and he's been there doing his best. He's been doing his best to help the citizens of Harrisburg almost all his life, all of his adult life. So we have people that's dedicated, that's trying to do it the best job that they possibly can. But we really want to hear from our citizens to know exactly what you want, and then we're going to try to put it to action. But we can only start, once we get the information. So we really encourage you guys to participate, continue to show up. We're going to get as much information out to you as fast as we can, and just take advantage of it. Someone that may be in a low mod situation, homeowner, that has all the bills to pay and just can't get that roof fixed. Recommend them to us.
And honestly, I've tried emailing you, I've tried calling you, I've filled out the application.
Also, we have.
Okay, and I actually took the application down and handed it to the receptionist. She said, oh, really, you'll be about a year wait.
Now, we do have a long waiting list, I must admit. During last year, when we had that big turnout, the 86, 87 families that we have, the 71 families that we have for lead, that waiting list grew and grew and grew. So, to be honest, we do have a massive
But I think
backlog.
that should be known, because
Yes.
if you go through that whole process, you're thinking, oh my goodness, my roof is in terrible shape, okay?
What's your
And
address, if you don't mind?
2300 block.
It's on the
Green
piece, it's on
Street.
the,
Oh,
she
yeah,
signed
so-
in.
okay, cool.
Yeah,
That
I'm the
way.
first
And I'm
person
sure
to
you're
sign.
going right up to him
Oh,
before you leave this room
Well,
and
actually, I
talk to
wasn't
him.
going to say anything. No, I was
Good that you should.
It's good for you.
going
You should.
to attend the meeting.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, that's,
Yeah.
No,
this
that's
is my
good.
first time.
But how do you
It's
deal
triage.
with that, with pent-up demand? How do you?
It's
how do you
triage
do it?
sometimes.
Okay, yeah, because, I mean,
And we do
it's-
Well,
make- we
and what
make some
happened to me
concessions.
was during the flood, my roof tiles went off. I had homeowners.
Okay.
So FEMA told me I had to go to my homeowners. They said, oh, your roof is too old. So FEMA said, well, we're not going to handle it. Okay. And they canceled my insurance.
Wow.
And we have a lot of
Wow.
seniors in
Yeah.
that same
That's
boat.
right.
Wow.
And we used to have a help program. We've
Right.
consolidated that now. Now it's our housing rehab program. But when
Okay.
we go through our applications and we see roof, furnace, things of that nature, we pull those. we do pull those and try to help them as quickly as we can. Usually that would take anywhere from 3 to 6 months, from start to finish. That's from intake to we're done, we have the roof done, we have the furnace finished. So if you put that on your application, then I'm sure we're gonna put it.
Okay.
Yeah.
How long has it been since you put it in?
I put it in September,
14.
something like, yeah, it
14,
was
In the fall.
in the fall,
Yeah.
yeah.
Could we take a look at it?
Oh, absolutely.
We'll take a look at it.
And usually about August, like, we try to shift gears to furnaces.
Mhm.
We're really concerned, like, we really made a concerted effort this year to get as many furnaces as we could, because we were worried about families using electric space heaters.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I can
you know,
understand
and-
that.
And it's.
So now come the spring
Yeah.
rains, right? So
Yeah.
so you don't, so now you're looking, roofs.
They canceled my insurance because I didn't have.
Oh, yeah.
money.
He had a question.
Any question?
Well, I'm sort of curious, under infrastructure, why sidewalks? What can the city do about sidewalks?
Now, generally, the homeowners are, responsible for that.
Well,
We
that's
take
why
care-
I'm- that's why I'm
That's why we
asking.
take, but we do take care of like corridors, sometimes with the curb cuts. We take care of all that because that has to be done. And, if we do a project, then we have to go through like, we're gonna concentrate over on Allison Hill right now on Derry Street, and we'll probably go and put all new sidewalks into the corridor. And that's a business corridor.
One thing
How-
with your sidewalk, let's say you came through our program, let's say our home improvement program. We're gonna bring your entire property up to code. So we're gonna look outside and inside. So that sidewalk will be covered as well. If it's all broken up, tree roots or what have you, then we're gonna fix it. That's part of the rehabilitation. To bring
There's
your
a
entire-
lot of that in the city.
Yeah.
You walk around and,
The tree wells are
right,
empty.
and brick walks
Yep,
and
yep.
they're all,
And lighting's a big hot button issue in
Yeah.
the city now.
but they're taking
But they
care of
have-
that. They're
Yeah,
Yeah, I know, that's what I was gonna say.
They are, with the
Yeah.
new LED lighting.
Yeah, yeah,
Thank goodness we don't have to use CDBG for that. So
but,
somebody else is gonna pay for it.
okay, all right.
What
Yes,
if
ma'am.
some, you have the different areas? What if the 2 or 3 of them are tied for one?
We want to hear from you, so no problem. Let me-
We'll give you more stickers.
Any comments?
Give her,
There's
Yeah.
give her her
a
dice.
comment she has.
No
I was
problem.
gonna say, I
We got
can
plenty of
get
stickers.
beforehand, so you can put all your stickers on,
Yeah.
if you think that's where.
Yeah. And what do you-
Do you, stepping back and
Where do you live?
going over the furnace versus now the roof issue, some things are a matter of timing.
Right up
So,
the street.
do you try to make those adjustments, or do you stick to a longer plan? And we just talked about the furnace versus the roof, but the other thing up there is the parks and recreation, and that's right around the corner now, Security for our youth during the summer is right around the corner. That's the next big fire that the city's going to have to begin to deal with. So do you respond in the short term to those kinds of situations, or do you just have to sort of stick to your larger, long-term scenario?
We do a lot of triage too.
Mhm.
We have emergencies that pop up where, the citizen may come in and literally has a hole in their roof. They can see light.
Yeah.
And we may have to do something instant
Mhm.
for them. But we try to stay to the overall plan. But we do, like I said, make concessions for
Mhm.
those true emergencies. And we send guys out, like my 39-year vet that we
Mhm.
have. We send them out and they're very responsive, trying to get those specifications written up so we can try to address that family as quickly as possible.
But I think to address your larger question, though, the budget's is good for a year. So the
Yeah.
budget that we have that has parks in it already, police, fire, the housing, that's set.
Mhm.
And that's set by, so we sent it to HUD last year. Now, they're gonna vote for all these questions. We're gonna vote again in June? In June, the
June,
council will get the
Mhm.
final budget, and that's when everybody should come and listen to see what because the council's gonna say, oh, maybe I don't want that much for police. Maybe we want more for parks. Maybe we want more for housing. So we can juggle that. Then there's certain guidelines by HUD, so you can only spend, some of it's capped. So, you kind of have to juggle it. But once it's set and it's set to HUD, that's what you do for that year. Then you talk about it again for the next year.
And keep in mind, this is our 3-year big plan. So each year, and we're gonna have more public meetings. Each year, we're gonna have public meetings. So something may come up next year that you think is an urgency, and we wanna hear about it then. But each year, as long as we can keep the funds coming into the city, of course, we have to be in compliance with HUD to maintain these funds. But the more ideas that comes up, the better. And that's why we wanna try to really plan this 3-year plan. You can do 3 or 5-year plans. We decided to do a 3-year plan just to kind of take a gauge of where we really want to go with everything, to try to get as much feedback as we can for the short term. And then maybe the next plan, which will be 2018, I believe, we may do a 5-year plan and have enough information from these public meetings to really, spearhead for 5 years.
And then every year, there's an action plan that has to go into HUD. So what are you gonna do this year? You gave me a 3-year big picture broad. Now, what are you doing? So that's important to focus on that too. What are we doing this year? 16, 17.
Like
I
Ms.
think it
Parker
would be
said.
nice if you publicize that, like you were saying, you did over 80-some houses, so that people like me who are on the list will realize, please God, baby, I'm on, you know what I mean? I'm on an active list this time, rather than wondering, because it's not like you give us communication to say, we got your application, you're now 212 on the list. You see what I'm saying? But I think that would also encourage more community participation in these meetings, because they see that something is being done. Okay?
Yeah.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
I've been so busy working, so the year ended, and we're looking at this. So if you take the lead program, the home, and the ESG, all those funds, we've helped over 300 families in 1 year.
Right.
And
But how would I know that?
But how
You
would
see
you?
what I'm-
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
But the need's so great.
Right.
We many times feel like, gosh, if only we had $10 million.
Well, probably so. Somebody should get back to a person. That
Yes, they should.
I mean, we should be responding at least like.
What we're gonna do,
I think you should.
we're gonna make it a part
I
of
mean,
that.
it's a positive thing for the city.
Yeah. Got you.
You know what I mean?
The idea of, yes, also it gives you some way of measuring what you've done. So, and communication of that sort where there's transparency is critical. I think that goes back to what Les Ford said about kind of just changing the landscape around, understanding the process. So, and you have a good story to tell. So I don't want you to get complacent in that. I want you all to keep working hard. But you all are, I mean, you have so far so good. There's more work to be done. Keep working. That's what my mother would say to me. So there you go. There you go. Keep working.
So we're talking about exercise now. What do you want to go to?
Oh, yeah. Now, if you want to get up at this time and place your stickers on the, most critical, have some comments, least critical, you can definitely do so at this time. And if any questions pop up, definitely just shout them out.
Okay. And there's some extra stickers here too.
Yep.
And if you want to write, we have Sharpies.
Yep.
So if you want to write some extra narrative on each one, that's what they're for. Even if it's 1 or 2 words, you don't have to, do a dissertation here. Just any comments that you want to make. And then if you have some overall that you think are not addressed by the topics, comments.
Could you explain the infrastructure when you say streets?
That, let's say if we have your streets, lighting, curb cuts, things of that nature, we may have, which we do have in our city, a lot of, I hate to say something, but we have potholes in our streets.
I'm just saying.
The potholes.
Yes.
And that's what that for, is to rebuild that stability throughout the city.
Right, and what we're saying is that's an eligible activity. Does it have to be funded by CDBG? Could be funded by PennDOT, could be, but if people are saying, we got a lot of potholes, we'll go back and say, yeah, PennDOT's coming through, we got a couple million, well, that's what we're gonna do, and maybe we'll put the CDBG money towards parks, or maybe we'll put it towards something else. So again, it's a kind of a financial strategy, but streets are eligible, so you could,
Okay, 'cause
many
my street-
communities use it for.
In the middle of my block, there's a dip, and
Yeah.
we're just all waiting for it just to
Open up.
open up.
And sometimes it's, like Jackie said, it's a timing issue.
Right.
It might be a priority, but we know they're coming through in 6 months, so that allows us to notify you that they're coming through. It's
Right.
going to happen. But we can shift our dollars then to parks and rec lighting,
Right.
you know, those kinds of things, so. All right,
Yep.
all right,
What's your comments?
get to work.
All right.
Maybe, pull this out.
Somehow you have to-